Yesterday, I created a post and I titled it An Overbearing Patriarchy Creates Feminists. And I had an amazing story time. This is what this woman named Carol says. She says, absolutely. I grew up seeing my dad go to work and then his time was his. We all had to leave him alone while he participated in his hobbies. He came inside for the evening meal, then back to his own thing, or sat with a beer watching TV, which we also weren't allowed to interrupt. He mowed the lawn every few weeks, but that was it as far as the house and family contribution. My mom did everything else. You never saw her sitting down and resting. No uninterrupted time for hobbies or even alone time. She was always home with us as kids. She wasn't allowed to have a life. Finances were controlled. No coffee with girlfriends. He made it uncomfortable to have friends, so people didn't come over. There was nothing in that life that made me ever want to marry. I remember I was about 8 when I was really upset that I was a girl. I wanted to be a dad when I grew up. Dads got a better deal. Obviously, as an adult, I now realize how toxic that childhood yet was, but yes, it absolutely created a feminist. Now, people talk about the importance of a two-parent household. What does a two-parent household where a man is technically living in the home provide if he is not actually participating in the life of children? People also talk about how a lot of these misogynistic males of right now basically were a product of single mother homes. How about a father that was like this, that basically did the absolute least where it came to participating in family life? The parents, the dads, the absent dads, the non-participating family members that are in the home actually help shape some of these misogynistic beliefs as well, because it showed that the women were supposed to do everything, even if there was a man in the home. So let's stop always putting all of the blame on the mothers. Some of it was the non participating fathers. So I asked Carol if they stayed together. So this is her response. They separated when I was 11. Mom had been wanting to keep the family together for the kids. She had this big chat with my brother and I. She apologized to us for not being able to do it anymore. She took her vow seriously. I still remember the look on her face when my brother and I, we were 11 and 7, sat there saying, "Thank God. He is always so grumpy and horrible. We wish you left years ago." She was expecting anger and resistance. All she was getting was our relief. I asked her if life improved. She said, absolutely. The fear left the house. The finances dropped 2/3, yet there was more food in the house, more holidays. Mom was still frugal, but as kids, it felt like we were richer. It showed just how much he had been keeping to himself. Yet she was left with his debts. Another reason I will always struggle with the idea of men as leaders. A peen doesn't automatically make you more financially responsible. Yes. Imagine that. This is the argument that some people have, that staying together for the kids is not always the best situation, because kids do pick up on these things. She continued with, it wasn't even his constant grumpiness or unpleasantness, as bad as that was. That was our normal level of permanent unhappiness. As kids, we never would have actually asked mom to leave dad. It wouldn't have even crossed our minds that this was an option. It was the incident when mom had a friend over for coffee one time. The friend had probably been there for half an hour. We were in the kitchen when dad came in. He walked over to the bench, so right where you could make food yourself, interrupted their conversation and asked her to make him some cheese with crackers and tomato and a cup of tea. Then went back out to the shed and waited for her to bring it to him. Remembering that none of us were ever allowed to interrupt him, she stopped her chat with her friend, got up, made it, and took it out to him. I remember thinking, no, you walked right over to where you could have gotten it yourself and didn't. My brother and I have been getting ourselves snacks for years, but you can't. As a child, I didn't understand the dynamic and power play going on. To me, he just looked lazy and selfish. That was my big first no way movement. And it escalated. Her mom's friends stopped coming over, and he just made it impossible to have friends. You know, I do have this this Chronicles of George series going on, and this character, we've named him George. We don't know his actual name. He has 3 daughters, and none of his daughters want to be married to a man like him. George was one of those men that was weaponizing incompetence. And his wife, his soon to be ex-wife, did everything. So his first daughter is married to a man who actually helps out in the house. The second daughter is married to a woman. The third daughter is unmarried and has no children and does not want to marry a man like her father. Now, people don't understand that even having a man in the house doesn't guarantee that the family dynamics will continue with that next generation. Sometimes people are choosing their partners completely opposite or shunning relationships because of what they saw in the household. So that is my TED Talk for today. You guys go ahead, jump in the conversation, jump in the comments, and let me know what you think. Like, comment, share. Oh, and if you're following me, you're following my stories, and you are entertained, go ahead and follow, hit subscribe, hit like.